Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Voxcaster podcast. Today, I'm joined by my co-host Kim, and today we have another very special guest with us. And today, we are welcoming Tiz Paints onto the show. Please help us welcome Tiz onto the show. Yay!
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for taking this time to come on our show. And you're going to be number 2 back to back on Pile of Opportunity as well. So we are happy to dive into a little bit of that with you. But we did want to just kind of start out with you, kind of like how we do with everybody, which is just, how did you start into it and how did the journey kind of begin for you? Where did, Warhammer or the hobby in general, where did it start and grasp you into it for you to be like, this is for me?
So I've been hobbying for a long time, on and off and in different forms, but it started when I was probably about 8, and it was mostly sort of board games and then sort of like bit of sort of model building with Grandad in the shed type stuff. And then came along sort of more GW stuff. So Space Crusade, Space Hulk, those kind of things. And that's kind of where suddenly I'm like, oh, what's a Space Marine? And it kind of just continued from there. Delved a little bit into D&D. I think D&D, I have sort of a love-hate relationship with. If you get a good group of people, it's amazing.
Yes.
But if you don't quite gel with the people you're trying to kind of D&D with, it can just feel a bit awkward and uncomfortable. And I've had kind of both of those experiences with D&D. So yeah, kind of just plodded along, doing my own thing. I wasn't particularly, it was very much a home-based thing. So me, my brother, there wasn't really a wider community that I was aware of at that time.
Mhm.
And then as I got into kind of like my 20s, I started to kind of branch out a little bit more, find others who are into it. And then I just decided to sort of quit my job and apply to work for Games Workshop in my mid-20s.
A good decision.
Yeah, and just kind of like delved headlong into it. I'd mostly at that point played what we'd consider like the specialist games now. So it was mostly Blood Bowl, Space Hulk,
Right.
Inquisitor, Necromunda. So I hadn't really played a lot of 40k or fantasy. But I didn't let that stop me. I was like, yeah, I can learn. It'll be fine. So I spent like 5 years working for Games Workshop, and met incredible people. Kind of found my tribe, as we say.
Yeah.
Then I left GW. That's a story for another day, if anyone's ever interested.
Probably a whole other episode. You could probably go on for a while.
And I didn't touch any GW stuff for a long time. So I started exploring other model companies, and that's kind of, I think, what people see now in terms of my hobby is that kind of move away from GW.
Yeah.
Because I predominantly paint busts and larger scale now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of me and my hobbying.
That's a good journey.
Yeah. No, and I do want to circle back to the busts point later.
Yes.
Because that is something that like I actually had a mini segment I wanted to get into with you. So TBD. But
I did have a circle back too moment.
Yeah.
I did want to say I've played D&D maybe twice in my life, but the people that I played with, I find that it makes such a huge difference if you go full character and like full into it. Like people, they were doing the voices, people had outfits going, like, and that made it feel so much more like fun, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So,
I
like,
think if you can find a group where like everyone just sort of throws themselves into it, like it almost gives you permission to throw yourself into it as well.
Yeah, like I want to feel like a fool, but I don't want to feel like a fool alone, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we all want to feel like idiots together
In the best way.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the key is like when you find a group of people where like all your your sense of immersion is on the same
Mm.
level, because if like one of you is like super into it, one of you super not, the polarity is what causes almost like it's almost like forced dialogue sometimes where it feels
Yeah.
almost awkward. Whereas with the
Yeah.
right group of people, it all just flows and it just feels so good and natural. Because again, I've only played D&D again. I think I've only played it like three or
Mm.
four times in my life.
Yeah,
Three
definitely.
times.
I
I've
think
only played it three times.
it is all about those dynamics, isn't it?
So you've only played, you said,
I've only played like three times, but out of the times, I feel like I got maybe a little blessed by having like a pretty good group with me.
mm,
So like I overall had a pretty good experience, but I have heard of like nightmare times where it's like don't vibe
awkward.
and it's like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Should I do
Yeah.
this voice? Should I do like this, like weird, like was like,
Yeah. Yeah, you need to not feel self-conscious. You like when you're doing D&D. Another kind of role play game that I really like is called Blood on the Clock Tower, which is like a elaborate it's elaborate version of like back in the day I used to play like Werewolf, which is where you've kind of got so Blood on the Clock Tower, someone's a demon, there's at least one minion, and then the rest of you are like villagers and other characters, and you have to basically ask questions, talk amongst yourselves, and basically you win if you work out who the demon is and you kill them. So and that's really good fun. So yeah. And each villager or each character has kind of different skills, and you can throw like other people off and kind of do all kinds of weird, quirky, fun things. So that's one I'd really
That
recommend.
sounds like a lot of fun actually.
you remember to
Yeah,
check
and
that out.
you can do it in a one sesh kind of thing. So D&D I think's better if you can build it. You know, I'm not a massive fan of like just one occasion D&D campaigns. Like I
No.
Right,
like
right.
I like to build and develop with a group of people. Whereas Blood on the
Mhm.
Clock Tower, yeah, you can just play it in one night and have a great time.
Like AOS. A nice quick game of AOS.
I have never actually played the new version of AOS. I've only played old school fantasy.
But
Wow.
I will say though that to your point that like you were kind of more into these like SDS style games, like the special design studio games. To what we have seen lately, actually a lot of is a lot of rise in these actual side games because a lot of people want these small skirmish games, and there seems to be almost a shift away from these long, dragged out, multi-hour games, and people want these like super small, quick, I can do in one evening thing.
So you're talking about kind of
Uh,
like the people preferring to kind of play kind of like the shorter, quicker games rather than the kind of multi-hour, longer games. And I think I think life is busier these days.
Yeah, it's
very.
true.
I think and I think the reality is that a lot of us are shorter on social time than we've probably ever been. So I think it makes sense that kind of we're looking for something that we can either transport more easily than like a full massive army, and something that we can kind of maybe fit a couple of games into an evening quite quickly.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense that more people are doing that now and that those style of games are more common. I still personally love occasionally to do a big all day or even a multi-day apocalypse game. Haven't done one for ages, but
Yeah,
I love them. Like hire a
yeah,
venue, get everyone that you know that plays in the same space, lay out a gigantic like 20-foot table and just have at it for 2 days rolling dice. Like
yep,
that's good fun, you know? Particularly if people have got some titans or gigantic tanks.
yeah. Well, and we used to even have like back in the day, we used to even have like floor hammer events. Remember, where like it used to literally be like days of just titans across floors because you
Yeah.
just couldn't even fit them on tables.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
insane.
It's good fun. It's good fun. I haven't seen much kind of I mean, we used to play Apocalypse in store every now and again. I don't see many people online playing big games of Apocalypse or events kind of being advertised to go and play Apocalypse, whereas it was quite common like a decade or so ago. So I think things have definitely shifted towards those smaller games.
I think it's partly that, and then also because Apocalypse games were mostly just like narrative fun games, and I think we've seen a
Mhm.
little bit of a shift into this competitive scene with the bigger games. And I think also this is why some people who don't want to do the competitive side have started looking into these special design studio games. And I think why there's a little bit of a rise in those as well, because the rules, from what I've heard, are some of the best ever written. The lore and just the feel and immersion of the games are usually incredible, and people just report just how much fun they are. And the push for the main games to be competitive, I think, is just like a mixing brew of why we see these small skirmish style games becoming such a rise. And the models for them are just stunning, by the way. They're the best models that come
Yeah.
out.
Definitely. Some of the over the last kind of like 5 years, some of the stuff that they've released for like Necromunda, I look at it and I'm like, oh, well, I could be tempted back to paint some GW by those.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, for
Like
sure.
it's like they have a completely different, like, I don't want to almost want to say budget, but almost like time scale that it's being worked on.
Yeah,
That's what it almost seems like.
they can do more detail
Yeah, yeah.
almost. Put more,
Yeah,
like,
I think
love into them.
a little bit more kind of creative, perhaps. A little bit more scope to kind of go a little bit wayward with things because the law is still developing and stuff. Whereas people will shout at me for this, but how much can you truly do to a space marine? I mean, I do. There are some space marine models that I absolutely
You can
love.
hear them.
Yeah, they're all with pitchforks. But, a space marine is a space marine at the end of the day. Whereas I think particularly things like Necromunda, where you've got a much broader scope of kind of characters that you can delve into and kind of subspecies and all of that. I just think you see a different, and that's not to say that the people sculpting for the main games are not creative. They're amazing. I can't sculpt for, I'm rubbish. So I can't fault them at all. Like they're doing great stuff, but I just think it's got a very different vibe when you're talking about the specialist games.
Yeah, and I know you've said that you haven't played the new AOS, but I'm sure, like, you've seen them. They're a lot it's a lot like the feel with Necromunda, where it's like they just have more ability, like, they have more time. They're just, able to do more detail.
I think there's some fantastic models in the Age of Sigmar Rangers. Yeah, definitely. Particularly the amount of dragons these days. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, very
I
true.
They
love a good
really
dragon.
push those. They push
Yeah.
those a lot. A lot.
Yeah, give me more dragons and I'll be happy.
So one thing that I wanted to get your opinion on, because I've never personally painted any type of bust or anything of that matter. And I think anybody who's also starting out into the hobby, not that I think this is always correct or the way it should be, but there's a big push for them to go to Games Workshop scale size models instead of a bust size. So when somebody is looking into maybe transitioning from a miniature to a bust, what are some things that you might give them as pointers or tips for how they're painting that would look better on a bust that maybe you can't do, or maybe some skills from the miniature that you can take to the bust? Because you wouldn't paint it the same, right? The scale is just so
Mhm.
different.
Yeah, I think perhaps how I approach things might be slightly different. I think once you get up into kind of like people who are winning at the top level, they are doing exactly the same things on a bust as they are on a tiny miniature. They are that good.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I think what I noticed when I moved over to painting busts is because you've got more space. So,
Mm.
you've got a leather belt. A leather belt on a bust that's this size is a lot different to a belt on a 28 mil.
Well,
So your opportunities to paint on texture, pattern, weathering, dirt, kind of really adding all those details that put your finished piece in an environment that you can kind of imagine it in, you've just got more space to play around with it. And I would encourage people when they are sort of starting out with painting busts, pick things that aren't too detailed and pick things that give you maybe a maximum of 3 or 4 different materials to play around with. So like skin, one type of cloth, a leather jacket, maybe horns. Like, keep it quite simple and just have fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice to make marks and just be like, there's this leather's 50 years old and he's been in lots of bar fights. I'm going to put like scratches and like it's just fun. So, yeah, I think it's really hard and don't you'll see people do it online and it always blows my mind. People who can put that level, rendering of materials onto a 28 mil blows my mind. But people can. I can't. My 28 mil, I go for neat and make sure that you can kind of see every area separately. And if I can do that, I'm happy. Yeah, because that's what gives you the visual impact at that scale.
It's
Work on
true,
being
yeah.
neat and work on your kind of the definition of one material to another, one part of a model to another. Because if they read as separate things, someone looking at it can see the whole thing. And then anything else you can add onto it is a bonus.
Mm.
Whereas, yeah, when I'm painting a bust, I pick a lot of reference photos
Mm.
and I try to make the thing look like it does in real life a little bit, as much as I can.
I see.
So go to town with texture, have fun would be my sort of main point for people starting out.
And do you have a favorite brush or a favorite tool or favorite piece of equipment that you use when you're doing busts versus when you're doing the regular miniatures?
Yeah, so I tend to bigger brushes, but I have with painting busts, I've kind of explored a whole variety of brush shapes. And I
Yeah.
found that I really, really like pointy kind of arrow shaped brushes.
Hmm.
Because you can do tiny, tiny dots with them, you can do lines with them, but you can also, because they've kind of got the wider base, they're quite nice for blending as well, if you want to do something kind of across a larger surface. So I think one of my favorite tools at the moment is I've got quite a few arrow shaped brushes, which I love. Yeah. So that would be my go-to. Am I allowed to brand drop on here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
of course.
Brilliant. So my go-to kind of arrow brushes are my Chimera ones, which they do it in a sable and in a synthetic. I like both. I think it's great that we have those options for people who might have reasons why they don't want to use sable brushes and they want to use synthetic. I like both of them. And then the other brand that is basically my only other brush that I currently use are Tesseract minis. So
Oh, interesting.
he's a commission painter who kind of jumped in with both feet and released his own brush brand relatively
Wow,
recently.
okay.
And
Heard of him.
I absolutely love them. So most brush companies, it's like, oh, it's a size 1, it's a size 2. But actually, different companies, that means completely different things. Like you can't pick a size
Yeah.
1 from
Right.
one company and a size 1 from another and them
Yes.
be the same. So the two of his that I really love is the Workhorse and the Big Chungus. So he's just given
My
them like
God.
names.
So it's
He's
not
like, it's the
I
big
sizing, it's
love
one.
names.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's
That's
just
so
named them.
smart.
And his dry brushes are called like tickle sticks or something.
My
And I
That's
just I love
amazing.
it. I think it's fun. It's a little bit frivolous, but these brushes are seriously good as well. So I like that mix. I like someone who can kind of have fun with their hobby and kind of fun with the products that they're putting out, but the quality be really good. So Tesseract Minis, I'd highly recommend his brushes. Um,
I'm gonna have to check them out.
Yeah, no, for sure, we're gonna check them out. Like, thank you for the recommendation because
it's okay.
those just sound hilarious too, but
I have to buy a brush every single time we go into a store. Uh, but like
Yeah,
I
I
really
can't
want.
resist.
Yeah, it's so fun. I really want to find brushes where it's like, okay, this is my brush. Like, yeah, when I'm painting something, this is what I go to when I know I want a nice a
Like
nice
like when
finish.
it's like a character or like a high detail bust or something when you're like trying
Captain.
to like actually like bring out your skill for like something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Trying to find those
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. I like to not have to switch my brush too often.
Mm.
So, particularly the workhorse, I think it's just the right mix between a decent enough size that it will hold a nice amount of paint to work with, but that the tip on it, you can do really, really fine stuff. I don't need to switch to a tiny, tiny brush to do eyes with the workhorse. So,
Yeah.
in fact, I painted some, it wasn't actually a GW model, but it was basically a Space Marine. I painted some lenses the other week and I used the workhorse, and that tip, absolutely fine. Didn't need to switch to another brush. So I
Wow.
like that. I like that because I find it faffy to have to like keep changing and find the brush that I want. Whereas the workhorse, I can do base coats with it, I can do fine details with it. Really versatile.
Yeah, I'm really interested in it now.
Well, and it also adds to like um I don't know. This is just how I view it. Because when I see a product like that, to me, it's like this actually adds to my overall hobby time because it adds efficiency to the paint thing.
Right.
So, for example, if I only have 2 hours a night that I can paint, but I don't have to switch between 7 brushes, that's a lot of time saved. So I'm getting more done with less. So I will support that because it is adding
Yeah.
to my hobby.
Right.
Right? Like, not directly, but indirectly, it's adding to my hobby
Yeah.
time. So
And
that's a
all
company I
those
want to
changes
support.
between brushes add up,
They
you
no,
know?
Yeah,
really,
they
it does, right?
Yeah.
And if you're gonna start switching between, like, metallics, you're using different waters and everything, like, different brushes with different like, it can add a lot of time, and people don't realize that a simple thing, like a good brush that you can use for the utility of the entire project goes a
Yeah.
long way.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's exactly the idea behind him creating the workhorse. He's a commission painter. Speed, is important to him, and he just wanted a brush that you could pick up at the start of your painting session and still have in hand at the end, no matter what you've been doing that session, kind of thing. Yeah.
You sold me.
We're gonna get some.
Do you have a sponsorship link,
I
affiliate
don't, I
code?
don't, I don't have an affiliate link. But I will send you a link to the website.
Yeah, no,
Hands
well
up, I do actually know Stu personally.
Oh, I'm so excited.
But I love his brushes, so
no, we'll include his link in the description and on our socials as well, so other people can
yeah,
check them
do,
out.
do.
Yeah.
Because
He's fab.
we love promoting good products. So
There's just gonna be a picture of one of the war horse on Instagram when the episode's
yeah,
announced. The
yeah,
second image on the slide.
Yeah, brilliant.
Did want to ask, sorry, I know we've talked about this in a couple episodes already, but we've recently started using the paint markers, like the AK and then the speed paint markers. Is that something that you're interested in or you have used for the bus?
So I've never used them, and I think they get a bit of flack. I've seen kind of people seem really mixed about them,
yeah,
and I think some people need to realize that everyone can do whatever they want in their hobby. Like, it doesn't matter.
yes,
Yes.
And actually, if you're not liking the look of that product, it's probably not for you. So chill.
Yeah.
Leave
Just move
people to
on.
it. Yeah. I think for me, I think I might get to a point where I might try them particularly for base coating,
Mhm.
Yeah.
predominantly because as I get older, I have a connective tissue disorder. So painting is, as the years go on, painting is getting more and more painful for me.
Mm,
And I actually, do you know what? When I first saw those sort of like pens and everything, I thought, do you know what? For those of us who perhaps are disabled or have chronic pain, they look really comfortable. So actually, I'm
They
really
are.
open to the idea. I don't think they would ever replace everything that I'd like to do on a model, but if it can like be a slightly less painful way of doing some of the steps, then actually, why not?
Yeah.
Because things not hurting is good.
Exactly. And so I love the points you brought up here. One, yes, they are super extremely comfortable and super easy to use. We have ran into some issues with these. For example, you cannot do like super fine detail in certain areas you also just can't reach. For example, like you're not going to use it to do an eye. You're going to use a brush for an eye. That's not unavoidable. There's certain areas on certain models, the marker, because the thickness of a marker is much thicker than a brush, it just can't fit into certain places to get what you need it to get. So again, you're gonna need a brush. Like this does not eliminate a brush. I just think it's an added tool that can make certain parts of miniatures, especially maybe large sections that are usually a pain to do with
Hmm.
speed paints. This can eliminate that and make that process for some people easier. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's everybody's own hobby. Like just do it your own
Yeah.
way. Like I only use speed paints exclusively. I almost
Yeah.
never use acrylics anymore. Rarely do I touch acrylics. Uh, and, I still have people commenting saying, "Hey, your stuff looks great." Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna, it doesn't diminish your work. Great work is great
No.
work. It doesn't
No.
matter how you got there, like
Exactly. Exactly. And I think there are so many different ways you can approach things or do things that sometimes I think there's a little bit of snobbery. Some people are a little bit snobby about like, oh, well, I don't use this or I don't use that. And, yes, some people might produce better looking models than others, but that
mm,
doesn't make you a better person just because you prefer one technique over another.
yeah, because and at the end of the day, isn't it like I don't understand. It's like, shouldn't you be bragging that you know how to use all techniques instead of
Try
I don't know, like
everything.
that's like
Yeah.
like to me it's like I've tried acrylics, I've tried this, I've tried that. I brag about how many
Yeah.
things I have tried. Do I
Yeah.
constantly use them? Am I a master in them? No, but I've tried them. I have,
Yeah.
and I can give reasonable conversation about it now instead of just
Mhm.
saying like, "Oh, that's never for me. I'm never gonna try it." And then what ends up happening is those are the people that usually try it 3 or 4 years later and go, "Oh, man, I've been missing out."
But
I wonder
exactly.
who does
How do you know
that.
if you haven't given it a go? And variety is
Right?
the spice of life, Like, try everything once. If it's not for you, it's not for you.
Yeah, exactly. No, and have you found something that's not for you in the hobby?
Yeah, so there are some paint brands that I don't get on with, but I think paint is a really personal thing because we
It
all
is.
paint in slightly different ways. We all have preferences. So when I say I have paints that I don't like, it doesn't mean they're bad paints. It just
Right.
means
No.
it just means they don't suit me.
Yes.
Using some of the paints that I do not like. So they
Mhm.
clearly are like the paints are fine. It's just a mismatch between what I like to do with paint and the properties of that particular paint. Um,
Right.
so
So then what
yeah,
are
so
your go-to paints then?
my
Like, instead of
go-to
the ones you don't like,
paints,
what are your go-tos?
what are my go-to ones? So
Yeah.
at the moment, I am primarily using chimeras and AK paints.
Yeah.
Um, are the ones that I go to. I'm looking for a go-to brand to replace my AKs purely because there are some things that in the past the company have done that don't sit well with me. But again,
Yes.
I'm of the opinion that I'm not going to be shouting about that because that is very much a me thing. And we all have to make our own mind up as to who we want to give our money to, who we don't. But
Exactly.
unfortunately, AK, they're really they really work for me.
They are really
And
good paint.
they're really good. And they have some of my favorite ever colors.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure I could ever not have tenebrous grey, greenish white, and hull red. Like those three paints are basically on every project that I do in some way.
I don't know if I've ever tried their Hall Red.
I really like it. It's kind of a kind of deep. I don't know how to describe it.
It's almost like
Kind
a
of
blood
Rich. It's
terror.
like a deep, rich red.
Like a blood
Is
terror
that
or
I
the
don't know.
Marauders red dish.
it kind of leans a little bit kind of dull for want of a better word, because that makes it
I
sound
see what
so
you
it's kind
mean.
of a dull, Imagine like a rusty but not too
Yes.
bright ship hull, kind of that
Yes.
red kind of.
Okay, so yeah, that's like what I like to like have a finish one because I put like oils and stuff over it. So that would cut a lot of stages out
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, hull red is a fantastic color. So yeah, I would recommend that. And I haven't quite found another paint that replicates it yet. So
Those
so
three
yeah,
may just have to stay.
those three might have to just be the only three
Yeah.
AKs that I repurchase. But to be fair, I don't paint enough to get through my paint particularly quickly. So I think I've got a good few years of painting before I run out of my AKs, to be honest.
Yeah, I was so surprised, like when I first started painting, how long they last. They look like they would go within a month, and it's
Yeah.
been like years.
Yeah. By the time
Yes.
you add water to it or whatever, it's like they go really far. So yeah.
It's now what I know that formerly, when you were a Games Workshop employee, you were probably using lots of Citadel products through them.
Yes.
Did you drop that immediately when you left them, or was there like a transitionary period between you trying different products? Yeah, immediate. It was immediate.
It was immediate. I left the company and then I was like, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of love for my time at GW.
Yeah.
I just think 5 years of kind of most of my sort of hobby was quite restricted. So for 5 years, it was very GW and it was all of their products. And,
Right.
I think when you leave a kind of job, and I didn't like it due to individuals that were involved, it wasn't necessarily the most pleasant of leaving.
Right.
So I did kind of, just as a kind of response to that, just kind of did a big FU and kind of just went all in on other products, other brands. But you know what? That was fun and that was what I needed at the time.
Mhm.
I'm a lot more open to GW products these days. I'm not a massive fan of their paints.
Mhm.
I think they're fine. I think they get a lot of hate that isn't needed or justified. People, like, you can paint with them. They
Yeah, they
work.
do the job.
They do what they say on the tin, you know?
Yeah.
I think for me, because I like to mix and sort of play around with my paint, because GW mix in quite a lot of other colours and pigments when they're making a paint, mainly for coverage, because actually, when you are painting a big army, you want to be able to slap that paint on as quick as you can, have it cover, and get your however many points done and on the table. So it makes sense that they very much value coverage. Whereas when you're kind of painting busts, really, that's not as much of an issue.
Right.
So again, it's personal preference why I don't use Citadel paints at the moment rather than their rubbish paints. But I really like one of the tools that I think never left was the GW mold liner tool, which is kind of like just a metal. I love
I
that
use it all the
thing.
time.
I
I use
love
it all the
it.
Oh, that's
time.
what it's
Yeah,
called.
I use it
I
all the
love it.
time. It's
I
so
had no
good.
idea that's what it was called.
Yeah. So I mean, I will use a knife, but actually on days when perhaps my hands are really hurting, the mold lining tool is a lot more forgiving. Like it's really easy and you can't. So when with a knife, if I've got really bad hands on that day, like I might accidentally take a chunk out the model. Whereas with the
Right.
mold liner, that's less likely to happen. So I think it's a brilliant tool. Yeah, I'd
The
recommend it
other
for anyone.
the other place I found it to be like really, really good is if you're into using a lot of resin, the mold liner I actually prefer on the resin because depending on the blade, what I found sometimes is it'll almost do a cut, but then if it almost like catches the resin and then
Yeah.
chips a little, like it'll all
And you can get it kind of
yes,
sticks.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But with the mold line, it doesn't do that. It's very smooth. Like it actually pulls through the resin. And so when I was doing stuff like working on my Warhound and stuff, I actually let go of the knife and used that tool for the entire thing. And it
Mm.
was so like I fell in love with it. I was like, there's no way I could have done this with a knife. I
I
highly
think some
recommend that
people
as well.
look at that tool and go, "What's the point in that? I'll just use a knife." But actually, I really rate it. I really like it.
I like it as well, yeah. No, I've had one for a long time, I really like it. And then, one, popular, tool that some people, use, some people don't, or there's a million variations now, is painting handles.
Yes.
Yes.
What is your thoughts on them? Do you have a preferred type? I know some people just use a cork, some people are all the way up to, like, a custom handle made for them, stuff like that. Where do you sit in
So
that?
I've used quite a lot, and there are times when I pin a model straight onto a plinth if it's an appropriate size that I can hold.
Mhm.
Right.
So sometimes I will go straight onto a plinth, and then I just masking tape the plinth for the painting process and hold that. But specific painting handles, I have found one that I absolutely love. I bought it just out of curiosity. I didn't expect it to work. I'm not a massive fan of a lot of their other products, if I'm honest. And again, people will be with their pitchforks, I think. But it's the Artist Opus egg. I love
We have
it.
Okay.
one, we have one, it's
I
so
l-
good.
because I don't. So if I overgrip something, I get a lot of pain, particularly in my knuckles. So because of the kind of more open hand position that you're in with the egg, I can paint more comfortably. So I love it. Yeah.
It's so
I think, what
comfortable.
Did
size have
it
you got? Which size is that one?
Middle one.
it's the goose, I think?
I've got the bigger one. So I've got the biggest one that they do because I've got
That's the one that,
big hands.
we were gonna get yeah, we
I
were gonna
yeah,
get for
I w
you.
because I was like, "These are really nice, actually." Like, they're
They're,
they're actually so comfortable to hold. I think this is a greatly underrated product for
I think
some people
people
that
look
may
at
have
it and think
not
it's like
actually held it.
gimmicky and a bit naff and it won't work, but
Yeah.
I love it. The only thing I will say is I bought it in white and then a few months later they brought it out in black, and I might have to get a black one.
I didn't even know
We
that.
don't have
We don't even
the
have
black one.
because these are stocked
Ah,
at our local shop. Like, we didn't order it. Our local shop is an
Really?
Artist
so
Opus,
yeah. Okay.
supplier.
Maybe it's not in Canada yet.
Maybe not.
Or just
Maybe
our
not. I think
shop.
they brought it out as a event only over here. And then I think people potentially were like, I really want it. So you can get them on the website now.
It
So
would
So,
be
the other sorry to interrupt, the other really cool thing about this egg is we got these, like, the magnetic top
yes. Yeah.
piece
that you can
also,
get
and it's
Yeah.
because we have, a case with the magnetic trays, which is now very popular for how people transport their models. So we can
Yeah.
just take any, like, miniature, and, most of our miniatures have magnets on the bottom now, and we just stick it on here, and it just,
Yeah.
like, holds it with by the magnet.
as we're
Yeah. And
painting.
they're really good quality magnets as well. Like you feel like
Yeah,
it's secure, which is
yeah,
fab.
they're really good.
Yeah. So I love that. I love that product. So
You know, it's interesting that you say, like, some like, people being and pitchforks, because like, I agree, like, people are, like, super hard on Opus, I feel like, because every person we've talked to that has tried the egg, like Hellglazer, who we talked to a couple months ago, he said the exact same thing, like, he loved the egg, he loved using the egg.
yeah. Yeah, it's fab.
Like, everyone
I'm not a massive fan of their brushes personally, but I think that's just personal preference. I know a lot of amazing painters who only use Artis Opus brushes and clearly they work.
Yeah.
It's just they don't really work for me. But the egg, yes.
yeah, I find that their brushes, because we have a couple, they were like, I like using them for very certain, very specific things with like specific paints.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, and people, I don't know, people will probably comment and be like, you need to know how to clean your brushes. Like, please, I've been doing this for 3 decades. I know how to clean my bloody brushes. I don't find they last very well. I don't find them the most resilient of brushes, personally. And I'm
I
not
think I
particularly
Right.
harsh
yeah.
on my brushes. So that's my main issue with them. If I am spending that amount on brushes, I want to have them for a decent length of time. So
Right.
yeah. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I
they
find that
don't.
Yeah.
with synthetic. we get that. I really like synthetic brushes now. Switched
Yeah.
over to some.
Yeah, if it works for you, it works for you. I've got some synthetics, like I've got the Chimera arrows in the synthetic and they seem really great. So yeah, I don't have I wouldn't say that like my opinions are like I think this and I will always think this. I'm always
Yeah.
open to trying things and changing my mind.
I did want to ask super fast. Is there anything that you have planned for a future project or you are interested in starting?
So I've got a few things. So there's some competitions next year that I'm going to be attending. And so there's a company called Realms of Tiberium run by a guy called Warren, who is just the most amazing person you would ever get to chat models to. And I love his models and I have a lot of them. So one of my projects that I'm currently trying to focus on is I want to enter like a full set of the models that I have of his. So I've got pretty much most of the busts that he does. So I'd like to enter those as like a collection into a competition.
That
That's
would
really
Um
be
cool.
really cool.
yeah, so that's one of my goals. And then other than that, I'm entering my Tiz wants to paint naked people era. So I've got a load of like fuller models and busts that are all kind of like the human form
Mhm.
with a lot of skin. And I
Yeah,
want to challenge myself to develop interesting ways to paint skin. So
it'd
that's
be
kind of going to
so
be one of my
cool.
other focus over the next kind of like 12 to 18 months. So yeah, so there's going to be Realms of Tiberium and naked people is going to be basically my hobby.
I'm so excited to see them.
No, but I think that
No,
there's
actually, though,
there's a
I'm really
certain
excited to see them.
I think there's a certain beauty to that though, because like in a world where everything is focused on, fantasy of some kinds, whether it's sci-fi or
Mhm.
medieval, especially in the hobby space, how often do we actually just take a moment to appreciate ourselves? And
Yeah.
Yeah, I think and there's some amazing sculptors being inspired by kind of life drawing and, more traditional forms of art and kind of bringing that into their sculpting. Like there's Layla Kalilia who has just released her kind of initial range of miniatures and it's just she sculpts the human form absolutely beautifully. So what's not to like about it, you know?
yeah,
Um yeah, bodies are great. I'd like to see more variety in sculpts. Larger
Yeah.
bodies, smaller
Yeah.
bodies, bodies with limb differences. Men, give me some more
Text
nude men models to paint, you know? Like, let me paint the naked dudes.
Yeah.
I just want to see more variety because I think all bodies can be beautiful and it would be great to kind of see that reflected
100%.
in the hobby space a little bit more.
No, I completely agree. I've always wanted to paint busts, but it's always been such a terrifying, daunting thing.
Do you
Like,
know
I'm
what the
always
secret
scared.
is? You can always strip it. That's the secret. If it all goes wrong,
That's
strip
what
it
he
and no
said.
one needs to know.
I always say it's just paint. You can
Just
literally
paint.
go over it. It's
I just
Yeah.
need
just
to,
paint.
yeah, I just need to learn how to paint skin. That's my issue. I just put, like, how I paint skin normally is I just, like, put a skin tone over it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, ah, that's good.
Take Get a picture that you like of someone's face or whatever body part you're painting. And then don't think about colours. Think about where are my lights, where are my darks. Ignore the fact it's skin tone. Yeah. Just this bit needs to be darker than that bit and just work up and it'll all come good in the end. That's, yeah.
I
It'll all
like
come good
that.
in the end. Just
I'm
because
gonna
actually
try.
that value, lights and darks, is like, if you get that right, you can basically do any color you like and it'll read as skin.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very true.
Well, and then
So,
and then you could even because even just working on just like the gradients of everything, right? Like just working on shadows and lights, like and like Tiz, like you just said, like it can go to any color. It's cool because then you can take something like it would be cool to see like if you had the same model and you painted one as like, how you would do an organic skin tone, and then have a different one where it's like how you would do almost like an alien skin tone, but try to
Yeah.
match the
Yeah.
tones and the depths. So you did
Yeah.
one as like, like beige or whatever, and then you did another one as like, let's say blues or purples, where you try
Yeah.
to build the depth of that, but you try to like mirror it so it's almost like the same.
Like inverted
Yeah, like
almost,
the
like
same
colors.
thing, but it's almost like there's a filter
It
on
would be
one.
really
You know what I
cool.
mean?
So
That's a cool entry
I've
idea.
got
That's a cool
one
entry.
that is nice. Also, I've got a model at the moment that I'm going to paint. It's basically a fully naked model, like most of a body. And I don't think there's going to be any skin tone painted on that model,
Ooh,
but
okay.
it will look like skin. So there will be pinks, there will be peaches, there will be icy
Wow.
blues, but there won't be anything that you would traditionally look at in the bottle and go, that's skin. That's a skin color. So that's going to be
That's
fun.
gonna be really cool.
I'm
Yeah,
already so
that's gonna be
excited
really
to see
cool.
this. Those colors always look so good together. Like the pink, the peach, the icy blue. Oh, I'm so excited.
Just don't hold your breath because, as we all know, I'm not very quick.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like, get to work.
Yeah,
Let's
get
see
to
it
work, get it done.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, no. Take your time. Everybody take your time in the hobby. Like
Yeah,
we
do it at
said,
your own
enjoy
pace.
your time.
Yeah, go at your own pace.
Yeah, do it at your own pace as long as you're having fun.
Yeah, it
That's all
normally
that
Exactly.
matters.
takes me a solid 2 weeks for one model, I would say. But like unless I'm like sitting down and painting nonstop, it's like a solid like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, we all have different amounts of time we can sit down and do. We all have like different priorities in life, and
Yeah, of
sometimes
course.
I can't paint for weeks. Like it depends if
Yeah.
my pain is bad or whatever. I
Yeah.
can't physically paint. So, whilst some of my projects don't have that many hours in them, it can take a long time for me to actually get it done.
Right, right. No, it's more important taking care of yourself.
Yeah, I think a lot of people could do with taking care of themselves a little bit more. I think that's probably my only issue with kind of like Instagram. I think the hobby community can be an absolutely wonderful thing, but I think if we're not careful, we can pressure ourselves into that kind of productivity that we see others doing, and not all of us can do it, and that's okay. I
And I think like, and this has been like a very common topic, and I think this is just a very popular almost community topic, is like, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Like just do what you can and what you love. It doesn't mean every piece you do has to be to, a golden demon slayer sword winning piece. You just do what you love. And if that
Mhm.
looks great to you, who cares? It looks
Yeah.
great to you. It's your miniature,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, the whole comparison is the thief of joy, you know?
Exactly.
Like, I'm not gonna compare myself to, like, Slayer Sword winners. Like, I haven't got the energy, the time, or the commitment
Yeah.
to get there,
Right?
Like, huge
The
respect to
emotional
people that
stability.
do, but if I can finish a project and go, "Do you know what? I'm pleased with that," then that's all I need, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But no, on that note, I think that's a perfect spot to wrap up
Fab.
Yeah. But Tiz, if unless you have anything else you wanted to add to our guests or
Just wanna
anything?
say it's been absolutely lovely.
Yeah, no,
it
thank
really
It's
you.
has.
been great, and if, down the line, once you've had lots of other people on, if you ever wanna have me back,
Of
I'll happily
course, yeah.
jump on again. It's been fab.
It's gonna
Yeah, no,
happen.
thank you so much. We are gonna be doing almost like a circle back tour,
Nice.
but, thank you so much for taking this time and this opportunity for us to, have this little chat with you and open up about your experiences,
Yeah, no, it's been fab.
and
Thank you.
to to all our listeners, please check out, Tiz Paints, absolutely wonderful person in the community, and she's always a good laugh happening over there. So please check her out, as well as you can find her on Pile of Opportunity podcasts. Please check them out as well. We're gonna have links towards that in our
Lovely.
descriptions and our bios and stuff like that. So you guys can go check her out there as well. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff. You know what you're doing. So Tiz, thank you again. And from us here at the Voxcaster, we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.